A Laugh in the Dark, Chapter 14. As he stepped curbside, Jason Stelzer stood watching Stan Mahoney's limo pull away. He then headed across 10th Avenue. There, he waved to his doorman, Old Man McWilliams, the night watchman at his extended stay hotel on 10th near 17th. It was his nightly ritual. Just walk by the guard's kiosk and look like you are simply going to retrieve a few things, and then stay in the building until McWilliams left. How else would one pull off living in a bin at Manhattan Moving and Storage? It had been his home since he left Brooklyn that fateful night when the Titans down at the social club had wanted him taken care of. He never heard much about the failed rubout other than a small blurb in the Post that said that one man was killed and another seriously wounded in an apparent hit that went awry. He never found out which of the brothers had survived, and frankly, after that night, Jason didn't care. Things had changed since then. He had changed. Everything changed. Ever since Brooklyn, Jason was in a constant state of change. He was a changeling, like in the song he blasted on the stereo on the rear shelf of his storage bin when he knew McWilliams had locked up and he had the entire place to himself. The shelves in his bin were stocked with every bit of bric-a-brac and electronic thingamabobs a street maven could pick up in Manhattan. Clock radios, digital calculators, old video game stations, and anything with wires he could get his hands on. Electronics was one of his first passions. Being an original geek, he was never far from a soldering iron and a motherboard, always figuring out ways to amuse himself, making these devices work again, even combining them from time to time to amuse himself. He loved machines. Back at Euclid High, he was on the AV crew. He would spend hours just sitting in the AV closet, playing video games, watching porno on the VCRs, getting all naked in the cold linoleum tiled room. Machines were his non-judgmental, less reactionary, almost docile yet powerful allies in his world. Machines understood. Silently, stoically, they fucking understood him. He was the changeling. Now, naked to the world, it's his nightly practice to strip and prance around the place, dance around the place, wild-eyed and buck-naked. Alive! Alive! Alive, she cried, just like the Doors screamed on the next track. Yes, an 8-track player he glommed from a street vendor when the vendor wasn't looking. You cannot petition the Lord with prayer, Jim Morrison screamed on the next track to pop up. The Doors, Alive, she cried, was the only thing Jason ever played. He would listen to that album all day and night if he could. He relished it, and the 8-track player. The way the warm red lights glowed as he lay in his cot, waiting for the next injection of the glorious Jim. The song would end. There would be a brief, almost ethereal silence. You could hear the hiss of the tape. Then the next group of songs would play. Didn't anyone realize what a gift the 8-track player was to the world? It could play an entire album's worth of tunes, over and over, and always let you know it was on the job. Those clicks were solid-state reminders that the resilient housing and the ever-so-wide and thick banding of tape was there, dependable, unskippable, unflappable. Alive, She Cried was the first and last 8-track tape Jason had ever owned. He bought it weeks before that day, that fateful day of 1970, when his younger brother, Mikey, hey Mikey, he likes it, he really likes it, disappeared.